Have you ever felt trapped in the noise of the world, constantly trying to impress, prove, or please others, yet losing sight of your true self? Sometimes the loudest growth comes not from doing more, but from stepping back. Today, we are going to explore the power of disappearing not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to reconnect with your inner self and transform your life from the inside out. By the end of this video, you will understand how stepping away from distractions, opinion, and constant engagement can help you find clarity, purpose, and a renewed sense of direction. Detachment from external validation is the first and most crucial step toward personal transformation. For most of our lives, we are conditioned to seek approval. From childhood, we learn that being praised, recognized, or admired is a measure of our worth. This desire for validation drives us in school, at work, in friendships, and even on social media. It is subtle, persistent, and often invisible, but it shapes almost every decision we make. The problem with constantly seeking external validation is that it anchors your self-worth outside of yourself. You begin to live according to other people's expectations rather than your own. Your actions become performative. Your choices driven by what will be praised rather than what is meaningful. Imagine a tree bending with the wind every time it feels pressure. Over time, its roots weaken, its growth becomes stunted, and it forgets its natural form. Similarly, when our lives revolve around others' opinions, we lose touch with our own essence. True transformation begins when you learn to detach. Detachment does not mean arrogance or isolation. It means cultivating an inner sense of worth that is independent of applause, criticism, or recognition. It is about realizing that your value is inherent, that you do not need others to validate your existence. When you shift the focus inward, your energy is no longer scattered in, trying to meet everyone's expectations. Instead, it is concentrated on growth, purpose, and mastery. Detachment also allows you to embrace authenticity. When you no longer chase approval, you start making choices aligned with your values and passions. You can express your true thoughts without fear of judgment, pursue your dreams without worrying about criticism, and live life in a way that feels natural rather than performative. This inner freedom is transformative because it reconnects you to your core, the part of you that existed before opinions shaped your identity. Another aspect of detachment is learning to let go of comparison. In a world driven by social media and constant exposure to others' achievements, it is easy to measure your life against someone else's highlight reel. Comparison is a subtle thief of joy and confidence. Detachment shifts your focus from external measures to your personal journey. You begin to celebrate small victories, progress, and milestones that are meaningful to you rather than those dictated by societal standards. Detachment also teaches resilience. When your self-worth is rooted in your own values rather than approval from others, criticism, rejection, or failure no longer shake you. They become neutral events, opportunities for reflection and growth instead of triggers for insecurity or despair. This shift creates mental and emotional stability, which is essential for deep transformation. The first step toward detachment is awareness. Notice when your actions are motivated by the desire to impress, please, or gain recognition. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it aligns with my purpose, or because I want approval? Awareness is the doorway. Once you see the patterns, you can begin to step back, release the need for external validation, and reclaim your focus, energy, and self-respect. Detachment is not about disappearing from the world entirely. It is about creating an inner sanctuary, a space where you can breathe, reflect, and reconnect with your true self. In this space, the noise of others' expectations fades and clarity emerges. You start living by your own principles, following your own path, and transforming from the inside out. When you cultivate detachment from external validation, you prepare yourself for the deeper work of transformation. The world may continue to judge, compare, or criticize, but your growth becomes independent of it. You are free to explore, to reflect, and to rebuild yourself on a foundation that cannot be shaken because it comes from within. Silence and solitude are two of the most overlooked tools for transformation, yet they hold immense power. In today's fast-paced, always connected world, we rarely give ourselves permission to truly be alone, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Noise from social media, constant communication, and the pressure to respond to every demand leaves little room for reflection. But growth, clarity, and transformation often begin in quiet spaces where the world is temporarily paused. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is a sense of emptiness, a longing for connection. Solitude, on the other hand, is a conscious choice to step away from external distractions, to reconnect with your inner self. It is in these moments of stillness that you begin to hear your own thoughts, understand your own desires, and evaluate your life without the lens of external influence. Imagine a pond. When water is stirred by wind and movement, its surface is cloudy, and nothing beneath is visible. But when it is still, the water becomes clear, and the depths are revealed. Solitude works the same way. It clears the mind, so the true self emerges. Silence also provides the space for self-reflection, which is crucial for transformation. When you are constantly engaged with others, running from task to task, or seeking external validation, there is little opportunity to pause and assess whether your actions align with your values and goals. In silence, you can ask yourself meaningful questions. Am I living intentionally? Am I prioritizing what truly matters? What do I need to change to become the person I want to be? These questions do not emerge amidst chaos. They arise in quiet moments of contemplation. Another essential aspect of solitude is the chance to recharge. Human energy is finite, and continuous exposure to noise, stress, and expectations depletes it rapidly. By withdrawing temporarily, even for short periods each day, you replenish your mental, emotional, and spiritual reserves. This renewal allows you to return to the world with more focus, creativity, and resilience. People often underestimate the restorative power of simply being alone with your thoughts, but it is a cornerstone of transformation. Solitude also strengthens self-reliance. When you spend time with yourself, you learn that you are capable of handling your emotions, making decisions, and navigating challenges without constant reassurance. This builds confidence, independence, and a sense of inner stability that no external circumstance can shake. Transformation is deeply tied to this sense of autonomy. When you rely on yourself for clarity, energy, and direction, you can make intentional changes without being swayed by outside opinions or pressures. Practically, cultivating silence and solitude can be simple yet profound. Begin with just a few minutes a day. Wake up before the world. Take a quiet walk, meditate, or journal your thoughts. Gradually, extend this practice, allowing your mind to settle and your inner voice to emerge. Over time, these small acts of withdrawal create a foundation for significant personal transformation. Silence and solitude also reveal hidden patterns. In moments of stillness, you may notice fears, doubts, or habits that previously went unexamined. Awareness is the first step toward change, and solitude provides the environment in which awareness can flourish. It is in this quiet space that you can observe yourself objectively without judgment and begin to dismantle the barriers that have held you back. Finally, silence fosters creativity and insight. When the mind is not bombarded by external stimuli, it begins to generate original ideas, intuitive solutions, and fresh perspectives. Many of the world's great thinkers, artists, and leaders attribute breakthroughs to moments of quiet reflection. Transformation, after all, is not just about external action. It is about evolving internally, changing your thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Solitude is the crucible in which this inner evolution occurs. By embracing silence and solitude, you allow yourself to disappear from the noise and pressures of the world temporarily. In doing so, you create the mental and emotional space to reflect, recharge, and reconnect with your true self. This deliberate withdrawal is not avoidance, it is preparation. It is the necessary step to understand yourself deeply, identify what you truly want, and lay the groundwork. For profound transformation, rewriting your inner narrative is the heart of transformation. Most of us live with an internal script that has been written by society, family, past experiences, and even our own fears. This script often limits us, dictating what we believe we can or cannot achieve. It is subtle, pervasive, and usually unquestioned. Transformation begins when you recognize that your story is not fixed, that you have the power to edit, revise, and completely rewrite it. From a young age, we absorb messages about who we are and what we deserve. Perhaps you were told that you are not good enough, not smart enough, or not capable. Over time, these messages become deeply ingrained beliefs, forming the narrative that governs your thoughts, decisions, and behavior. You may not even notice it, but every hesitation, every self-doubt, and every moment of inaction is influenced by this silent story running in your mind. Transformation begins by becoming aware of this narrative. Pay attention to your self-talk. Notice the recurring patterns, the phrases you repeat to yourself unconsciously. Do you hear words of limitation or encouragement? Do you default to fear or possibility? Awareness is the first step toward change, because you cannot rewrite a story you are not conscious of. Once awareness is established, you can start rewriting. Rewriting does not mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges do not exist. It means consciously choosing thoughts, beliefs, and perspectives that empower rather than limit you. For instance, instead of saying, "I always fail," you can reframe it as, "Every setback teaches me something valuable, and I am capable of learning and growing." The narrative shifts from victimhood to empowerment, from stagnation to possibility. Rewriting your inner narrative also requires replacing old habits and thought patterns with constructive ones. The mind is like a garden. If you continue planting weeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, they will grow and choke your potential. But when you plant seeds of positivity, courage, and self-belief, they gradually take root and flourish. Daily reflection, affirmations, journaling, or meditation can help reinforce this new, empowering narrative. One of the most transformative aspects of rewriting your story is learning to see yourself as a work in progress rather than a fixed identity. Too often, we define ourselves by past mistakes, failures, or labels given to us. But the truth is that identity is fluid, and your past does not determine every conscious choice you make, every action you take, and every thought you cultivate contributes to the evolution of your narrative. Another important element is embracing self-compassion. Change is rarely linear, and setbacks are inevitable. When you are rewriting your story, treat yourself as the protagonist, not the critic. Recognize that mistakes are part of the journey, not evidence of inadequacy. Self-compassion allows you to continue progressing without being derailed by guilt, shame, or frustration. Rewriting your inner narrative also requires courage to disconnect from external pressures. While the world may try to define your story through opinions, judgments, and expectations, transformation demands that you write your own script. This is why the earlier steps of detachment and solitude are so vital. They create the mental and emotional space to consciously shape your narrative without interference. The power of a rewritten narrative is profound. When your internal story changes, your perception of challenges, opportunities, and relationships transforms as well. You begin to see obstacles as lessons, failures as feedback, and potential as limitless. You stop seeking validation from others because your sense of worth and direction comes from within. By intentionally rewriting your inner narrative, you step into a version of yourself that is aligned with your true potential. This is not a temporary shift, it is a fundamental transformation in the way you think, feel, and act. Your story, once dictated by fear, doubt, or external expectations, now becomes a story of growth, courage, and possibility. It is in this silent, invisible work that real transformation occurs, laying the foundation for the next step, emerging into the world as a stronger, wiser, and more purposeful version of yourself. Emergence with purpose is the final stage of transformation. After detaching from external validation, embracing silence and solitude, and rewriting your inner narrative. The next step is to re-enter the world intentionally, with clarity, focus, and a sense of mission. Transformation is not just about disappearing. It is about returning stronger, wiser, and aligned with your higher goals. Emergence requires conscious action, while disappearance allows reflection and growth. Purpose is expressed through movement. The world does not wait, and neither should your potential. This stage is about translating internal transformation into meaningful impact, whether in your relationships, work, or personal goals. You are no longer reacting to life, you are shaping it. Purpose is born from clarity. In moments of solitude and reflection, you have examined your desires, values, and strengths. You have rewritten the story that guides your thoughts and actions. Now, emergence is about applying that clarity to the real world. Every decision becomes intentional, every step directed, and every effort aligned with the version of yourself you have cultivated in silence. Emergence also requires courage. Returning to the world after a period of withdrawal can feel vulnerable. Others may not understand your transformation. Old habits, expectations, or pressures may attempt to pull you back. But purpose gives you the strength to stand firm. You have discovered that your value does not depend on external validation. And this inner certainty allows you to act with confidence, integrity, and authenticity. Another aspect of emergence is contribution. Transformation is not complete when it is contained solely within yourself. True growth flows outward, inspiring and impacting others, whether through mentorship, creativity, leadership, or simple acts of kindness. Emerging with purpose means using your renewed energy to make a difference. When you act from a place of authenticity, the ripple effects extend far beyond your immediate sphere, influencing lives and creating meaningful change. Emergence also demands resilience. The world is dynamic and unpredictable, and challenges will arise. Transformation equips you with inner strength. But purpose ensures that you navigate difficulties with focus and grace. When setbacks occur, they are no longer reasons to retreat, they are opportunities to apply what you have learned during your period of reflection and growth. This combination of resilience and intentionality turns obstacles into stepping stones rather than roadblocks. A practical way to emerge with purpose is through structured action. Set clear goals, prioritize your efforts, and take consistent steps aligned with your transformation. Maintain habits that reinforce your new mindset, mindfulness, self-reflection, and intentional learning. Surround yourself with people who support growth rather than distract from it. Your environment, actions, and relationships should all reflect the person you have become in solitude. Emergence is also a celebration of self-awareness. After spending time disconnected from external noise, you return with a deeper understanding of who you are, what you want, and how you want to live. This awareness guides your choices, shapes your interactions, and fuels your drive. Life becomes less about reacting to circumstances and more about consciousness, creating experiences that reflect your values and aspirations. Ultimately, emergence with purpose is the visible expression of invisible transformation. The changes that occurred in silence now manifest in action, focus, and impact. You are no longer defined by external pressures, old narratives, or fleeting validation. You have stepped back to grow, and now you step forward to thrive, living intentionally, contributing meaningfully, and embracing the fullest version of yourself. Transformation is not a single event, it is a journey. By disappearing to reconnect with your inner self, rewriting your narrative, and then emerging with clarity and purpose, you create a life that is intentional, empowered, and profoundly fulfilling. The world may have remained the same, but you are no longer the same. You are stronger, wiser, and ready to leave your mark. Disappearing is not about giving up or running away. It is about stepping back to rediscover your true self. Detaching from external validation frees you from the chains of approval. Silence and solitude give you the clarity to hear your inner voice, and rewriting your inner narrative empowers you to become the author of your own life. And finally, emerging with purpose allows you to take that inner transformation and express it in the world with courage, focus, and impact. Transformation is a journey that begins within. It requires courage to step away patience to reflect, and wisdom to realign your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. But the reward is profound, a life lived intentionally, authentically, and with purpose. When you disappear to transform yourself, you are not hiding, you are preparing. You are evolving in silence, emerging stronger, and stepping into the world as a version of yourself that is capable, empowered, and free. Remember, the world may not notice your quiet work, and that is exactly the point. True transformation does not seek attention. It seeks alignment, clarity, and growth. And when you return, the impact of your presence, energy, and purpose will speak louder than any applause or recognition ever could.